Hey everybody, how's it going out there? It's another gorgeous day here in Central Florida. It's gonna be like 85 degrees, I think, so hopefully it's warm where you are too. Hopefully you're not getting snowed on and all that. So I'm not gonna beat around the bush, and I'm not necessarily following the normal format here. I'm gonna get right to the heart of the matter. I had a kind of a scare. This whole lump thing. So Saturday, I was brushing my teeth, and I started noticing I had like turkey neck. Like I had this jiggling like right here, and I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? So I instantly thought it's fluid buildup. I didn't think anything of it though, right? So, um, and later on in the day, I started getting a sore throat, and on the right side too, again where my cancer was. So I'm like, holy crap, what's going on? So, and I didn't think too much of it. I mean, I was obviously aware. I was obviously a little bit concerned. Then the next day, my throat really started getting sore, and I found a lump. It was pretty prominent when I turned my head. It kind of popped out. I could feel it easily. I could actually kind of define it. It was pretty good size. So I'm like, holy crap. So that was Sunday. So now I didn't panic or anything. I didn't tell anybody. I mean, I didn't know what it was. I didn't want anybody to freak out. So first thing Monday, I tried to get a hold of my ENT at the VA, and I was calling the number on his card. Of course, that goes right to his desk, and doctors aren't at the desk a whole lot. I didn't think about that till later on in the day. I finally got a hold of him at 2 o'clock, and I got a hold of the nurse. I explained to her what was going on, and she was kind of concerned too. She's like, "Yeah, we'll try and get you in right away as a nurse referral or something like that." So that's basically the way they put you in the system administratively, just to get you, on their radar, and then you go there and they kind of sneak you in. Like they got me. I went today. Today's Wednesday. Oh, I'm sorry. Today is Wednesday, the 12th of February, 2020. It is SITREP 25. So they got me in Wednesday. I called Monday, which is pretty sweet. And the doc was kind of feeling around, and I mean, he went right to it. He knew exactly. He was, kind of squeezing it from all different angles. And finally, he's like, "I'm gonna scope you just to make sure, but I think what's going on is you have a swollen, what do you call it? Laryngeal cartilage." So apparently, you have. It's actually called. I think it's called the laryngeal skeleton, but it's like 9 small cartilages that are around your larynx or your voice box, and there's a bunch of muscles and tendons and stuff that hold it all together, and it protects your voice box and your larynx. So that's what it's for. Well, I was like, "Doc, are you sure? Like this thing, I'm kind of freaking out right now. I got this bump." And he goes, "Watch this. Put your hand over here." And he pushed on it, and it actually, I could feel it on that side. So this whole thing is kind of like, if you can imagine this whole skeleton wraps around your neck, and it has 2 horns that stick up like this. So yeah, when you push on one side, it just shifts around naturally, is what it does. When he did that, I was like, holy God. So he did scope me, and he said, "Yeah, that's what it is." Essentially, so this is a function of radiation, which is the gift that just keeps on giving for months and months and months. So apparently, the radiation, now it's been a month to the day. Last Sunday was the 8th of February, and if you recall, the last radiation treatment I had was on the 8th of January. So 30 days to the day is when this happened. And apparently what happened was I had some tissue in there that got irritated and got inflamed, and it was behind the laryngeal cartilage on the right side. So it just swelled up, and it naturally pushed the cartilage out this way, which made a bump in my throat. How crazy is that? So here I am thinking, oh, this is it. I guess it's spread, and now I'm gonna have to go through, surgery is the next step, right? And I expect maybe surgery up around my tonsil, but not way down here. Like, holy crap, what? That's like bad juju, right? So, whew, thank God. I mean, talk about a scary situation, but so it's all good. So I thought, I know it's kind of scary seeing the title of this video, but I wanted to make sure, you know, that you guys knew that this wasn't just a standard video, that the last 3 days I've been sweating bullets, so everything's cool. So with that said, thank God. So corrections, in SITREP 24, and I'm sorry I haven't come to you guys a little sooner, but you know, like I said, I wanted to make sure I could quantify what was going on in my throat, so that's why we're a little bit late with this video. So corrections, in SITREP 24, I was talking about that houseboat fire, and I think I said it was in Tennessee, but it was actually in Alabama. Pretty bad situation. They had these two huge long piers, a bunch of boats, both of the docks, piers. The docks were covered. So it's a pretty nice setup, right? The problem was one of the boats closest to shore caught on fire, and not only did it start catching the next boats on fire, it caught the dock on fire too. So it burnt from the shore out toward the end. So people were literally caught on their boats, nowhere where to go with the water. And apparently the family of 5, it was like a woman and five kids. There was 8 fatalities, and among those, 5 or 6 of them from this one family. And there was another woman who was a mom that jumped on their boat and tried to help them, and she perished as well. So all in all, it was 8 died. There was 35 boats lost, and there was a bunch of burn injuries. So really bad juju. They're in Alabama, not Tennessee. So no houseboat vacation trips for us. And I'm going to clump all the rest of these symptoms, additions, and updates under one heading, right? So here's another cool thing about receiving radiation to the head and neck. So I started realizing that the ringing in my ears, so you guys know I have hearing loss in my left ear and I have tinnitus, ringing in the ears. I noticed my tinnitus was elevated, it was louder. So I waited a couple 3 weeks, and it wasn't going away. So I figured I was at the VA, so I stopped on audiology, and I did a walk-in, and I had an audiology doc hook up my hearing aids to the system to crank up the volume of the chimes, so it would kind of drown out the ringing in my ears. Well, she's supposed to get hearing aids every 4 years, and my 4-year anniversary was coming up in July, and she's like, well, seeing as you're coming up in July anyway, we might as well just order you your new hearing aids now. So the good news is I'm getting new hearing aids, which is pretty cool, and they got some cool features, like they don't have throwaway batteries. They're actually the nightstand. The charger you put in a nightstand. You just take your hearing aids out at the end of the night and just stick them on the charger, and then they charge in the morning. Just grab them, slap in your ears, and you're good to go. And the batteries are supposed to last like 5 years, so that's kind of good news. The other good news, other nice thing about these new hearing aids is they're Bluetooth enabled. So I can actually stream audio right from my phone, so I can go into whatever source of music that I want, and I can actually pipe in radio right to my hearing aids, which is pretty sweet. Nobody else can hear it. Nobody else knows what's going on. And I still have my hearing aids, but they're also, there's little speakers built in too, so I can hear, and I can hear what's going around me elevated more, and I can also hear radio and stuff, so that's pretty sweet. On the downside, they're a little bit larger, they're a little bit bigger than and another good thing, I don't have to order batteries, right? But they're a little bit bigger than the ones that I have. The ones that I have, they don't even make anymore. These things are really, really small. I mean, look how small they are, and they make, so that's only, it's barely even bigger than my thumb. It's the smallest size they make. I think it's the batteries are 12s. They're little tiny things. But they don't make the size anymore, and they don't make these ones where you hook them up to a machine and you program them. That's another good thing. A lot of the functions in my new hearing aids I can do right from the app on my phone. I can adjust the volumes in each one and all that on my own. But these current ones I have to go to the VA to audiology, and they have to, hook them up to their gizmo machine, and they have to do it. So that's really sweet. There's also apps out there. If I'm not listening to music, I'm competing with a lot of noise here. Holy crap! I got airplanes going over. I got the pool pump. Um, by the way, those planes. There's 3 airports here. We call it the one we call the Disney Airport is MCO. That's the one that's about 25 minutes away. That's where all the Disney traffic and Universal tourists go into, and that place is a madhouse. Like they see millions and millions of people a year, and I can tell by the flight path of that plane that's where it's going. So, but anyway, I digress. So, the Disney Airport. Where was I at? Oh, with my hearing aids. So, yeah. So there's apps out there. If I don't want to listen to radio, like I'm in a meeting or something like that, or I'm just sitting at home and I don't want to listen to music, there's a lot of apps out there that have sounds. Like they have gray, white, pink sound. I've heard of white, gray sound, I think, which is where, like if you're in certain, situations, if you're in an environment where you're discussing material that other people shouldn't hear, they have machines that make noise so it kind of drowns out your voices, right? But there's like pink noise, there's white noise, there's gray noise. I never knew that. It's just like different tones of hisses. And there's also nature sounds like insects and ponds and bubbling brooks and all that kind of stuff. So there's apps you can download and you can do that too. So that's kind of neat. Yeah, anything to break up that, especially in quiet like places where I work. Pretty much is a cubicle farm and it's pretty quiet. So during the day, I'll definitely take advantage of that capability of my hearing aids instead of I like the chimes. I don't know if I told you guys, but a lot of times like at night when I take my hearing aids out, if I've had my chimes going through the day, I can still hear the chimes even though I don't have my hearing aids in, which is really kind of neat. But yeah, so I think that's it for my hearing aids. Those come in the end of the month, and I got to go in, and then they have to hook them up. Or just, they do the whole new product thing with you. Although I've already researched them pretty much, so I know what the capabilities are for the most part. Oh, one other thing that's weird too, I can actually answer my phone on these things. So that's pretty sweet. I mean, instead of having a separate device, these things are Bluetooth right into my phone if I want. So I kind of dig that. But I mean, that can be inconvenient if you're in a meeting and somebody calls. It's like, holy crap! Now you have to what do you do? Well, I guess you can just hang it up from the phone. I'll have to get used to that. I don't know. Yeah. So on to the next terrain feature, my taste buds. So there for a while, everything tasted like vinegar. I guess what is that? Sour? Yeah, it's not bitter, sour, whatever vinegar is. I guess sour. And I get a strong sour taste, and then everything would go inert, and have no flavor at all. So now I'm left with this mouthful of, food mush, to swallow, which is very not appealing. And then recently, I could actually taste what I was eating, but only for a short time, and that's getting better. So I can actually taste what I'm eating now for a little bit longer, which is awesome. It's gonna take a while for me to get it back. I still can't eat breads and stuff like that, cheeses and that ain't good. But I mean, like today I actually had some crackers, which was decent. And I'm learning. I went on some like UCLA medical website and did some research on restoring taste for head and neck cancer, specifically for radiation. And apparently, your sense of smell has a big part, a lot to do with how your taste. So, and you got to kind of, I guess, retrain your taste buds. And your salivary glands have a real lot to do with your flavor. So I have to retrain that stuff. So one of the things it said was to actually enjoy smelling your food, because the smell of food makes your mouth water, right? It improves your salivary flow. So there's all these little things. I mean, is it gonna help a whole lot? No, but I mean, I'd rather eat the elephant one bite at a time, as they say, right? So any little thing you can do to kind of improve getting to the end state is better. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. So today I was smelling the roast beef that's cut up for sandwich meat, and I was putting that on crackers, and it was actually pretty good. But it was still, the first maybe 10 bites tasted like um, roast beef, and then not so much. But that's better. I mean, just last week, within only the first couple 3 bites, the flavor would have gone away. So I mean, I am getting better, but it's going to be a long road. And the saliva, I have some biotin spray, and I poo-pooed on it when I first got it a couple months ago. I actually got it before I even lost my saliva capabilities. I didn't lose it, but my salivary output is low. My mouth is kind of tacky right now as I speak. But this biotin spray, it's kind of expensive, but it's pretty effective. I mean, it's got a minty taste, and I guess it kind of balances out the pH in your mouth. Your teeth and your gum health is dependent quite a bit on your saliva, because your saliva maintains the pH level of your mouth. It also flushes away bacteria. It does a lot of stuff you wouldn't think of. So when it's reduced, you are at an increased risk for getting what they call caries, and I think that's just lesions. I could be wrong, but in your gums. So, and so because and again, this is a present from radiation, and radiation is going to keep giving for months and months. So that's why I have to brush my teeth after every time that I eat. I have to put the gel trays in twice a day, and all that. So I think that's enough on taste buds. And one more thing on salivary gland or saliva that's pretty important. It's not creeping down my windpipe anymore. That was just the weirdest thing out of nowhere. That flap would just open up and just let a little bit of spit in on the edge of my windpipe. And you get that when anything goes down the windpipe the wrong way, it goes down the wrong pipe. Yeah, it's just a pain. So thank God that's gone away. That was just not pleasant. So I stopped by work last week. I mean, my energy has been pretty good. I haven't taken naps, thank God. Matter of fact, I just realized that. I haven't taken naps like I used to, several times a day. I haven't even taken a nap throughout the day in probably a week and a half now that I think about it, which is awesome. I mean, I'm not back 100%, but I'm doing pretty good. So, but yeah, I went to work. I shook hands. I went by my work. I'm a contractor, so I stopped by the guys that pay my salary and said hi to them, to my direct manager Jan, and then I went over to where I worked on the Army side, where I'm embedded, and I seen all those guys. Unfortunately, we're still in test, and a lot of my team was out, doing team stuff, coordinating for our next test event, our major test event, and actually out at the test event we have going on right now, or actually just ended last week. But my battle was there, Nicole. So I got to see her and talk to her, which was cool. And Greg was actually came back a little bit early from test, and it was kind of good to kind of see what was going on in his world, because he's the guy that took over for me directly. So thank God for him. So it was cool. It was good to see those guys. I'm hoping to get back to work soon. I'm hoping the beginning of next month, within the next 3 weeks or so. I think I can figure out enough to do for lunch to get me by every day. It's not going to be great, but I don't care if I have to eat a banana and something. I'll tell you one thing. It's kind of indicative. So remember I was saying the flavor kind of goes away. So one of the flavors that kind of stick. I'm sorry, I'm flopping around here a little bit, but one of the flavors that kind of sticks with me is cinnamon, because it's a strong flavor, right? So Cinnamon Life. I always like Cinnamon Life. So, but every once in a while I try it. I get a little bowl. I pour the milk in there. Yum yum. And usually, like, right off the bat, the first bite's like, yeah, right, I'm back, baby. I got, it tastes like cinnamon. But then, sure enough, after 2 or 3 chomps, the cinnamon flavor's gone, and it's in the back of my mouth. This wheat, pile of chewed up wheat, whatever. So, but then I started realizing that maybe it was because the milk flushed away the cinnamon powder stuff, right? So so the last time I had Cinnamon Life, I actually had it in a bowl dry, and I had a glass of milk. So I take, like 3 or 4 pieces, throw it in my mouth, chew it until it was, kind of dry, and then you hit it with some milk and chew that with. So that's kind of what I did, and it seemed to. I'm sorry, I keep scratching my ankle. Something bit me in my ankle. So yeah, so that was the way I kind of got around that. And I mean, it didn't work 100%, but again, it was just like eating the elephant one bite at a time, right? So it kind of helped out with that. So that was kind of neat. I thought I'd share it with you. By the way, see my shirt? Check it out. Sorry, I digress. I seen it on Donald Trump's website. I had to get it. Impeach this. So yeah, went to work. Cool. It was a good time. Got to see those guys. It looks like they could just dink me off to the side at any time. So, but it looks like everybody's looking forward to me coming back. So I really appreciate that, guys. Thanks a lot. So here's an interesting little nugget. So out of nowhere, I get called by the VA ENT, the ear, nose, and throat clinic, right? And I'm like, why are you guys calling me? Like, who did the referral? No doctor told me that this was going to happen. And they're like, your primary made it. And I said, well, can you guys find out why? And they're like, okay, we'll give you a call back tomorrow. Well, they never called back. So like 3 days later or so, 4 days later, I called them, and yeah, check this out. They're like, oh yeah, you were on our list to call today. I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I called then. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, we're not really sure, but your doc made a referral. And I'm like, oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. No, let me back up. They said, so apparently, remember I started out my treatment at the civilian hospital, and I changed over to the VA. Well, the civilian hospital, the primary person that I was seeing there was a surgical oncologist, robotic surgical oncologist. Remember that? Going in with little instruments instead of these meat hooks. Well, when I changed over to the VA, all of my treatment shifted to the VA, dental and everything, except for surgical oncology, because they don't have a surgical oncologist at the VA. So what do you call it? Community care kicked in, and they have a contract with this civilian surgical oncologist that I had, Dr. P, and that's why I had her. So if the chemo and radiation failed and I need robotic surgery, I would go to see her, right? So that was the deal. Well, apparently, because of acupuncture and what do they call spine crackers? Chiropractic. Because of chiropractic and acupuncture, what was happening was the VA docs were referring them. Of course, the VA doesn't have acupuncturists and a whole lot of chiropractic doctors, so they were community carrying that out, and then nobody was really monitoring it. So those docs are pretty smart. So the acupuncturists were like, oh, hey, VA, the treatment's done, this course of treatment, we need 10 more visits. And the VA was just rubber stamping the stuff. Boom, boom. So it started costing a lot of money, and nobody was really watching the hen house, right? So finally the VA realized that and like stop. They stopped all that, chiropractic, acupuncture. And I believe in holistic medicines, right? So I'm not knocking chiropractic. I'm actually a big fan of it. I never had acupuncture, but it's been around for thousands of years, so it must work, right? But at any rate, so the VA said no, stop, and so it also, because my VA has ear, nose, and throat surgeons, they can do a lot of what a what do you call it, surgeon? I just had it before. I just had a brain cramp. An oncologist, oncological surgeon can do. The only difference is, so if I need something small done, if my radiation and chemo doesn't work out, and I have, let's say, one lymph node that's bad, they can do that. But I guess it's called a resection, where they take out all your lymph nodes. The VA ENT cannot do that. I have to go back to but I can still do that. I have to go back to the civilian orthopedic, orthopedic? No, not orthopedic. What am I talking about? Whatever I just said. The surgeon that the cancer oncology surgeon. That's it. I can still go back and see Dr. P, but that's only if it gets to the level or I have an issue where I need the resection, all of my lymph nodes taken out, which they can't do at the VA. So that's the deal. So now Dr. P is out. The civilian hospital is completely out of my life for right now, hopefully forever. Nothing personal, but yeah, if I have to go back to them, it's bad juju. So, yeah. So Dr. P is out of the picture. I mean, talk about a fluid situation, man. You know, never a dull moment. Just when I said, hey, these videos are getting kind of meh, kind of boring, I'm just going to go over the same thing. The crap's hitting the fan here, so yeah, kind of crazy. There's a lot going on, other stuff behind the scenes that I'm not going to talk about in this video, but life is busy right now. Let's just say that. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got right now. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, but yeah, like I said, I hope it's warm where you are, guys. I hope it's warm where you are, is what I'm trying to say. And oh, I know one thing I wanted to show you before I go. I've always talked about my port and my G-tube, right? But I never showed you guys, I realized. So I want to show you real quick. So this is the port that they put in. So when you go through chemotherapy, every time you go there, they have to put a line in, and it tears up your blood vessels. It's really hard on your blood vessels. Anyway, chemotherapy is. So they offered to put this port in, and basically it's a plastic thing with a line that goes up to a blood vessel in your neck, and then the needle they use is a real long, hard, thick needle, and it's got a plastic cover on it. Just boom right into this thing instead of going into your soft vein all the time. So this is what it looks like. This is the port. I don't know if you can see it right there. See it? I know the lighting probably sucks, but I'm going to keep that until I'm sure that I'm clear of this thing. And my G-tube, which is my feeding tube, I'm going to hold on to this too for a while, but I haven't used this in at least, I think, like a week and a half, maybe even 2, but I'll show you what this looks like. So that is what they call a stoma. It goes right into my stomach. It's got a little plastic cover here, if you can see it. And that's where I have a tube about a foot long that plugs into that. That's an adapter. And then I have an IV tree that just plug it right up. Doop! That's it. See, it spins. Kind of weird. It doesn't hurt or anything. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. But anyway, I never thought I'd show you my belly. How'd you enjoy that? Is it still shaved? I don't think it's still shaved, is it? Am I getting hair back? Yeah, I guess I am. Well, let me know in the comment section how you enjoyed seeing my hairy belly. Anyway, yeah, so this is a tour of my chest and my abdomen. There's an update on my hearing aids and the whole thing that's going on in my world and work and all that. So I hope you enjoyed it. It was good talking to you guys. Stay warm, stay cool. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.